Mamma mia.
If you've been living under a rock for the last year and are craving a Mario RPG, then I've got good and bad news. The good news is that Nintendo has put out 3 of them in the last 12 months, including 2 fantastic remakes. The bad news is that Mario & Luigi Brothership, the only fully original adventure of the bunch, is easily the worst. It's an incredibly frustrating return for a series I hold dear. Apart from its exciting action-packed battles, it fails in almost every way to recapture the magic of the best Mario & Luigi games while also clinging to their bad habits. That includes ridiculously chatty dialogue, overbearing hand-holding, and boring runtime padding fetch quests. Couple that with shockingly bad performance issues, and the nearly 10-year wait for a brand new Mario & Luigi game hardly felt worth it by the time the credits rolled. Having the Mario Brothers sail this giant island ship hybrid around to uncover new islands is a great idea on paper, but in practice, nautical navigation boils down to this pretty unspectacular ocean map where you pick your next destination and then wait as you inch your way there. I never felt any sense of discovery like that of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, or even of the small open ocean segment of Paper Mario: The Origami King. Instead, I felt like a kid in the backseat on a road trip, just wondering if we were there yet. Speaking of kids, several choices make Brothership feel like baby's first RPG. It probably will be for plenty of kids out there, so that isn't inherently a bad thing, but this is the rare game starring Mario that feels designed specifically for ages 6 to 12 rather than ages 6 to 80. The tutorials and dialogue are constantly holding your hand. For example, almost any time you enter a new area, the camera slowly pans over to your objective and slowly pans back like this. And it's followed by an unnecessary explanation, usually from new assistant named Snoutlet, who basically spells out exactly what you need to do. It also spends far too much of its already bloated 34-hour runtime repeatedly reminding you of the overarching story and objective.
Oh yeah!
I would be more forgiving of this chattiness if the humor and story were on point, but unfortunately the writing just doesn't land. The comedy mostly lies in repetitive bits and intentionally unfunny puns where the punchline is watching Mario and Luigi stare blankly in awkward silence. Snoutlet's primary joke is telling everyone he meets that he's definitely not a pig, which is just one of several unfunny gags that are beaten into the ground well before the script stops returning to them. Brothership makes an admirable attempt at telling a story about the importance of connections, but it's another area where the idea is better than the execution. The writing is just so unoriginal, and I didn't get attached to any of this large cast in the same way I have with so many companions from past Mario RPGs. Some of that may come down to character design. I love how Mario, Luigi, and many enemies look, but the power outlet-shaped residents of Concordia just didn't resonate with me. Their blocky look is a bit rudimentary and clashes with the style of characters from the Mushroom Kingdom. All the islands you visit are very generic too, with familiar fire, ice, and desert settings you've seen dozens of times before. For a series that once had microscopic versions of Mario and Luigi roaming around Bowser's internal organs, these areas feel disappointingly safe. The whole adventure would probably pop more if it didn't run so badly. This is easily one of the worst performing Nintendo games on Switch, with incessant frame rate issues while exploring the overworld. Brothership chugs and stutters basically anytime there's some sort of environmental element present, like rushing water. That's a pretty major problem for a quest set entirely on the ocean. Performance is more reliable when you're inside a dungeon or building, and I noticed the frame rate wasn't quite as bad when playing handheld. But if you were looking forward to the Mario & Luigi series finally making the jump to a home console, I'm sorry to report that I simply didn't enjoy playing on my television, and I don't recommend you do either. Brothership isn't outright bad in a vacuum, but it's particularly disappointing because it fundamentally misunderstands the best elements of its own series. That's most clearly seen in how it completely mishandles Luigi. In past adventures, Luigi follows right behind Mario, and you platform and solve puzzles with the two of them as a unit you control. In Brothership's overworld, though, Luigi feels more like an NPC ally than a second protagonist. He follows Mario at a disconnected, awkward distance, he can jump on his own without you pressing a button, and many puzzles revolve around simply ordering Luigi to automatically do something for you. That loses the unique style of previous games and feels so watered down by comparison.
Oh yeah.
The odd thing is that certain areas seem like they were designed for the old system and are now completely pointless, like platforming segments where Mario needs to jump on the red platforms and Luigi follows suit on green ones. Once you've moved Mario, you just twiddle your thumbs as Luigi does his part on his own. There are even segments where he will actively work against you, like here when you need to step on numbered panels in order, but Luigi, bafflingly, doesn't wait to step on his number before you've stepped on yours. This leads to completely contrived, unbelievable sequences where you need to beat out your own partner so he doesn't fail the puzzle for you both. One new mechanic is called Luigi Logic, but its lengthy animation generally just results in Luigi telling you how to progress, or worse, doing it for you. Brothership feels stuck between adhering to the old style and trying something new, and it fails at both by landing uncomfortably in the middle. The one place Brothership manages to shine is its combat, which as a whole is awesome. Mario and Luigi fight with their signature jump attacks, hammers, and a combination of new and returning bros attacks. The battle animations are fantastic, and combat is mercifully the place where performance issues are the least noticeable, as battles rarely suffer from frame rate dips. Luigi Logic is even used to better effect here, with the ideas he comes up with during the great boss encounters making these important fights feel appropriately grand.
Leave it to me.
There are surprisingly some challenging fights too, including one or two I had to retry after carelessly choosing not to heal, which was a welcome obstacle. Learning enemy patterns from the large roster of dangerous foes is always satisfying, as you have to memorize their tells to figure out when to hit the dodge button. And to its credit, leveling is nicely paced, where I was always at an appropriate level to take on the bosses as long as I was clearing out enemies on the main path. The smartest new wrinkle in Brothership's combat are battle plugs, equipable modifiers that impact your power, defense, and more, comparable to if Paper Mario let you swap out badges at the start of each turn. The Kaboom Attack plug deals minor damage to every enemy near your main target, while the Surprise Iron Ball drops a spiked ball on the enemy you attacked. To make things even better, some bonuses chain together, so if you have both of those battle plugs equipped at the same time, you'll drop an iron ball on every enemy impacted by the shockwave of damage. Many battle plugs work together in smart, surprising ways, and it's one of the only areas that doesn't spell everything out to you and allows you to piece together these powerful combinations on your own. But while combat is the best in the series, even it still wears thin before the end of the adventure. Without spoilers, the final third is a complete slog that adds nothing of substance beyond retreading the mediocre exploration and puzzle solving of the first 20+ hours. Brothership kept stringing me along and running in circles to the point where I felt like it was actively disrespecting my time. I would probably have been left with a much more positive impression if it ended at the 25-hour mark, because even the combat started to feel tired and repetitive as I was going through the motions trying to reach the conclusion.
Huh?
Mario & Luigi Brothership is a disappointing return for an RPG series I love. Apart from the combat, it fundamentally misunderstands its own past success, and completely fumbles Luigi's role in puzzle solving and exploration by making him more of a pain than a partner. The story is simplistic and unoriginal, its attempts at humor fall flat, and the overly chatty writing holds your hand to a ridiculous degree. It's not a total disaster, as the flashy turn-based battles are some of the best this series has had, but even those somehow manage to wear thin as the repetitive final act crawls across the finish line of this roughly 34-hour campaign, which suffers from surprisingly bad performance issues nearly the entire time. The Switch has been home to many triumphant revivals for Nintendo, but the Mario & Luigi series has sadly missed the boat. For more, check out our reviews of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Super Mario RPG. And for everything else Nintendo, stick with IGN.